Distance by design. An interface is not only a way to act, it is a way to not see. Automation multiplies that effect by turning sequences of choices into a single, clean gesture. Interfaces create moral and practical distance by converting consequential actions into simplified inputs, so that outcomes feel like the environment rather than the result of design. An interface is an abstraction layer. It hides internal complexity so a person can produce a result without managing every step. That concealment is a constraint, not an accident. A system cannot expose everything at once without overwhelming attention, so it selects which variables are real and which are background. When a single button triggers a chain of actions, approve, route, schedule, execute, the interface compresses time, reduces friction, and erases intermediate decision points. This compression shifts incentives. For the operator, the incentive is speed, fewer fields, fewer confirmations, fewer moments to reconsider. For the system designer, the incentive is throughput and consistency. Eliminate discretionary variance, make behavior predictable, reduce the cost of training. For an organization, the incentive is measurable reliability. If work flows through the same pipeline, it becomes auditable and scalable. A feedback loop forms. The easier an action is to perform, the more often it is performed. The more often it is performed, the more the system optimizes around that frequency. The more it optimizes, the more it discourages slower, reflective alternatives. Over time, the interface becomes a proxy for the work itself. Click equals completion, regardless of what downstream processes actually do. Consider a generic automated approval workflow. A person sees a request, a summary, and an approve button. The system may then allocate resources, notify other systems, and commit changes that are costly to reverse. The interface constrains the visible world to a short description and a decision. The trade-off is clear. Cognitive load decreases, but contextual awareness decreases with it. The person is held responsible for a decision whose consequences are distributed across time and across teams, while their information is intentionally local. Or consider an automated scheduling system that assigns priorities and routes tasks. It appears neutral. Tasks appear in a queue, sorted objectively. Yet the ordering is a policy expressed as code. What counts as urgent, what counts as valuable, what risks are acceptable. The interface presents the queue as if it were nature. The second-order effect is that people stop disputing the ordering because it no longer looks like a choice. It looks like a fact. Automation also relocates responsibility through division of labor. When a process fails, each layer can claim fidelity to its role. The interface displayed what it was told. The model ranked what it was trained to rank. The operator clicked what the queue presented. This is a failure mode of distributed systems in human form. No single node holds the full causal story, so accountability becomes fragmented. The interface becomes a boundary where responsibility can be passed upward. The system required it, or downward, the user confirmed it, even though the boundary itself was designed. In short, abstraction layers create distance by narrowing what can be perceived, by accelerating action relative to understanding, and by turning policy into presentation. The result is not merely convenience. It is a reallocation of agency across people, tools, and time. This distance matters because attention is where values become operational. What a system makes easy will receive attention. What it makes invisible will be treated as externality, exception, or someone else's problem. When interfaces smooth a process, they often smooth away the moment where a person would ask what is being optimized and for whom. Responsibility then becomes less a lived relationship to consequence and more a checkbox inside a workflow. Meaning is affected in the same way. When an action is reduced to a gesture, the person's role can shrink to compliance with a surface. The work may still be real, but the felt connection between choice and outcome weakens, and with it the sense that outcomes are authored, rather than merely encountered. Systems do not remove human values, they encode them. If a queue ranks tasks, a value judgment is present. If a button triggers irreversible steps, a decision about acceptable risk is present. If a dashboard reports one metric and ignores another, a definition of success is present. The interface is the place where those definitions become normal, where design priorities become default reality. When outcomes feel natural, inquiry declines. The person stops asking why this task was urgent, why this cost was acceptable, why this user was denied, why this error was tolerated. Distance is not only spatial or procedural, it is interpretive. The interface teaches the operator what counts as the world. Consider a single interface you use that turns many steps into one action, and examine what it refuses to show. Notice the proxy it offers for success, and name one consequence that occurs downstream, but does not appear on the screen. Then consider how that absence reallocates responsibility. Who is permitted to know, who is expected to act, and who will be asked to explain when the outcome is questioned. Distance is not an accident of automation. It is a designed feature of interfaces,